a lot of what I think is interesting spiritually. Sometimes I often share on Sunday mornings because I'm a student of life. Aren't you? Right? We learn from life. And I learn a lot from my grandchildren. That's why we talk about them a lot. But you know, it's interesting. 2 things happened this week. One, a new session of our yoga teacher training happened. And I'll get to that in a moment. But the other thing was, we were over, when we go over to visit the kids or they come to our house, what happens is we have a 2-year-old grandson and a 5-year-old granddaughter, and the 2-year-old does everything the 5-year-old does. Everything. And so Ron and Serena are always saying to Taylor, remember that your brother is doing everything you're doing. So please make sure it's careful, because there are things that a 5-year-old can do that a 2-year-old is not safe for a 2-year-old, right? And I've been watching this going, it's interesting to see her think, okay, he's watching me, I've got to change my behavior so that he's not put into danger. And it made me think about role models. Because anybody, we're role models. So we come to our yoga teacher training, and we've got people coming in who are learning the art of yoga that are going to be standing in front of a group of people. And whether they realize it or not, they may consider themselves yoga teachers. But you know what? You're role models. People are going to be watching you, not only the way you behave in class, but you never stop teaching. The moment the class ends, you teach in another different way. People are watching. How do you treat me? How do you look at me? Do you take the time? Do you smile? Do you go outside and light a cigarette after class, or or knock a drink back, or how far does your yoga go? And you know what's really interesting about this particular group we have 3 teenagers. 3 teenage girls. 4!
What?
I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. We have 4 teenage girls. And we got to, we got to celebrate her.
They need to stand up for, I think they need
Would you like to see our girls?
Come on.
All right, now we have to stand
girls.
up. 4 girls, come on. Come on up, our role
1, 2, 3, 4!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can you believe that?
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. You're all so wonderful. So they're going to learn the ancient precepts of yoga, the science of yoga, and then go and be role models. And do you think it's going to be easy going back into, I don't know, who's in college, who's in middle school, who's in high school, but even if you go to public or private, now now the real test is going to come, right? Can they live it? It's one thing to know it, but can you live it? And to realize, and that's for everyone to realize now, you've got an opportunity to put the stake in the ground, and your head's going to be a little bit higher than everyone else's, because they're going to look at you as a yoga role model and a way of being. But everyone, we came for this. We came for this. It's so interesting. I read this quote by Tina Turner. Some of you young ones may not know who she is. An awesome singer.
Because what's love have to do with it anyway?
Yeah. And she said that when she grew up on a farm, and they were kind of poor, and her role models, she would look to first ladies as role models. When I thought, that's pretty cool, now she'd actually have a woman of color to look up to. But she would look up to first ladies, and she said, but I got to thinking about it. If I was in that position, I would never to be able to sing with the emotion that I sing with because of the pain that I experience. I sing with my heart, she said. And if I didn't have all those precious life experiences, people wouldn't feel it. She would just have a great voice. And it's true that let's not minimize life's challenges. let's be real with them because they are who we are. They created who we are, you know? And it's kind of fun. That's why sometimes up in Soul Talk, I try to get real and share with you, me personally, you know, what challenges and things that we're going through. Because just because we're sitting here, and people will look at us all the time, they go, oh, I want a marriage like yours. And I think, and I, you know, say, yes, you do. This is an amazing marriage. And it's based on, because it's number one, our number one promise to each other when we did get married was, I will help you in your commitment to find God. That was our first vow to one another. Then we committed to take care of each other and be loyal and all that sort of. The first one was, I will protect you and guide you and make sure that you stay on track. And that's what we do for each other. And that makes a very beautiful, harmonious space. However, you know by just listening to us and talking to us, we're very different, you know? And so we have said to each other, we laugh at how different we are. We don't make it an issue between us because his difference enriches me and vice versa. And he's been a tremendous help. But if you are going to look at examples of friendships where one has really helped the other, there's a great story in the autobiography when Yogananda met his guru, Swami Sriteswar, who his level of consciousness, Swami Sriteswar's level of consciousness is really beyond our ability to comprehend what it would be like to be one with jnana, the wisdom of God. But he was a jnana yogi, perfected jnana yogi. And when he found, when his disciple finally came to him and he knew Yogananda was up there, do you know what he said to him? Sriteswar said to Yogananda, if ever you see me falling from a state of God realization, promise to put my head on your lap and bring me back to my path, to my God. And Yogananda said, sir, I can't ever imagine, but I give you my word. And that's the truest kind of friendship we can have. You know what? All right, I'm going to be really real with you here. Actually, when Tom left the ashram, he always says, you know, he didn't leave because he had worldly desires to fulfill. He left to kind of he was on train on one track and he went from the monastic track to the householder track, but he was still going in the same direction and was determined to. But in the ashram, in that particular monastic order, you're celibate. And it is a very pure and up lifestyle. And, you know, he went in as a kid, and when he came out as a 49-year-old, he worked hard to not only, it's one thing to shut yourself in an ashram and be pure physically, but it's another thing to be pure, to get over the, you know, to really work with the desires, because you don't want to stuff them, they'll come up and bite you. So you work with the desires, you work with the mental thoughts and all that sort of thing. And after 25 years, he had some nice success with that because he stuck with it. And one of the first things he ever said to me, when we recognized each other, and we really pretty much right in the beginning, we recognized that we would maybe spend the rest of our life together, at least a lot of time together. I remember the first time we went out alone, he looked at me and he said, do you promise to protect me? Will you promise, if we spend time together and this love is real, do you promise to protect my commitment to purity? And because I had had a relationship, I was getting more real than I expected, but that's okay. That's what we're talking about, right? I had had
just a little.
Oh, am I talking about you? Sorry. He's such an open book. It doesn't mind. And that's the other beautiful thing about him. He's taught me to be an open book. But I had had a 20-year marriage that ended because my partner chose not to be in a high state of purity with someone else. So when he said, would you protect me? And I realized how important that was, not only to him, so he can continue growing the way that he wanted to grow in his God realization and would also, support me, I said yes. I said yes. And you know what? When I said yes, I meant it. Should I tell him about, what we were able to do? We were so committed because, we're very attracted to one another. But once, physically as well as emotionally and spiritually and everything. But I knew how important it was. I knew how bad he would feel about himself if he didn't stick to his ideals. So we got so good. I got so good. We all of a sudden, we took all that energy, we, channeled it elsewhere. And he was able, I had, after he came out of the ashram, he had his own apartment. But after we made that commitment, he was actually able to live in this converted garage in the house that I was staying in. And we were able to keep that commitment till we got married. That was, I'm not saying, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying, if a lot of people say, well, we want to be like you. It doesn't mean you have to be celibate in your relationship or anything like that. You don't have to take that. But whatever in your partnerships, whatever in your friendship that you deem together, that you will protect each other from, because the world is a really confused place right now. And the energies, what's important to the world is not necessarily supportive to our personal growth. So whether it's a love relationship or a friendship or sisters and brothers or whatever, let's, if we can find one person who we can say, will you put my head on your lap? Will you protect me from falling from the state that I want to be in? And that's a role model, that's a dear friend. Make sure that you do everything for that person to keep them there, if everything in your power, because the end result is, I guess what you could say is whatever it is you see here that you like or respect or relate to, it's built on our high principles and our commitment to those. And we have that commitment with you, and I know you have that commitment with us. We are in all of you. But it takes that promise and to stay in that loving light. And I think I better shut up. Do you forgive me?
No, we trust, though. We so trust because we don't talk about what we're going to talk about. We just show up here because we're just so trusting of how Source uses us and uses life to just be perfect through whoever, whatever, good, bad, or ugly. It's still coming from that beautiful light. And so what Trish says really touches me, and it touches me in relation to all of you. And it touches me in relation to what's going on in the evolution of consciousness on the planet and in the consciousness of our little community here. And it's just one little community around the world. And there's so many beautiful, beautiful, beautiful communities like ours around the world. And so many souls that are just, vibing really higher than they've ever vibed before. And being able to sustain it better than ever before. And starting to love who they are. Love who they are in terms of this soul and all the beautiful divine qualities. Start to love them. And it's one thing to say, I got them. It's another thing to work in tune with them. And it's another to, wow, I love them. I love the fact that when I sit down to meditate, most people will think in terms of, well, I couldn't keep my concentration on what I wanted to. My mind wandered. But no, you probably had many moments where your heart was just like, right there with the divine, right there. Now that is something to love. Love these moments, these priceless moments. They're like diamonds every day that happen because Source is everyone and everything. And if we had eyes to see and a heart open, and probably this is what the greatest diamond is, and it's loyal friendship. It's loyal friendship. Because it's in that loyal friendship, starting you with yourself. All of this begins inside. All the wonderful things that happen horizontally, they get cultivated on the inside. You with yourself first. So you being very loyal best friend to yourself, so the ups and downs of life and your mind when it gets scattered and your emotions when they get raw and when life seems to just make it really, really difficult for you and you feel overwhelmed and on and on and on, that you have yourself to go to, number one. Yourself, your soul. And that takes quite a while to cultivate that kind of depth within you because we all are accustomed to running horizontally, aren't we? And a little help from a friend and whatever else we do outside of looking within to get established in ourself, to be loyal to ourself, to be true to our word, then we won't be false to anyone, right? So this is part of what Trish brought up for me, because I didn't know what she was going to say, is the loyalty of our friendship. It's the highest law of the universe. You know that loyalty is? And you know why it's the highest law? Because when something good happens in your life, and I'm sure each of you could pull up something really good that's happening in your life right now, something that when you just put your consciousness in your heart, that you feel good. It's not the feeling good of a fleeting emotion or because something went your way or something that you desire outwardly is coming your way or whatever like that. It's a feel good that's deeper than a condition. You feel good because it's something about your authentic self that you're in tune with, and so you feel good about it. Love that, feel good. If you guys have even a hint of a feel good of that caliber that isn't dependent on a condition, and there are people in your life that seem to resonate along those same lines of that feel good because you trust them. And you see there's an authenticity and a genuineness and a depth within these souls. These friendships like ours need to be cultivated. We work so hard on ours so that we can be that to you, so that we can be that in this community. And last night was just insane because the vibration lifted so high, so fast. And there were a lot of new people here last night. It was amazing. And when we got to the point where we actually had the Joe Cocker song on, You're So Beautiful. It took a while to get us to that point, and we walked around randomly. And when I was walking around, there were some eyes that I met, some souls that I met, that I felt God's presence so strong, so strong. And I wasn't expecting that. You know, again, a night full of a lot of people that aren't coming around here. They don't know what's happening. But the vibration lifted, everyone felt safe, and all of a sudden the grace kicked in, and we were open. We were open to have an experience. And in two sets of eyes in particular, I realized there is that divine friendship. There is that one beloved that I'm seeking within me, that I'm seeking within Trish to establish that, and I'm seeking with all of you. And it dawned on me so crystal clear. You know, those moments are intuitive moments. They're not knowing moments. They're just totally nothing with the linear mind thinking about it. There's just a flash of knowingness, right? And in that knowingness, I realize that if it's so close to us, our so-called awakening and our enlightenment, it's so close to us. It's in a set of eyes, or maybe more than one set of eyes today that you look into it, is the key to your enlightenment, is the loyalty to that feeling good and those friends that you can really count maybe on one hand. That's okay. That say, now these are the friends like Trisha is to me, and like I am to Trisha. And if we develop them, if we said, you know what, this can take me all the way. You know, a good happy place like the Soul of Yoga, or some other place that, or whatever it is in nature, or whatever you do that is your happy place, but I mean not dependent on a condition. It's got you on the inside, so whether it's there or not, you have that gold of that experience. Now, if we can stay loyal to that, my friends, and we can notice a high vibration, a true friend, a great practice, something that elevates your consciousness. And now I think the ticket to ride on the planet is this idea of loyalty. I really, really do. I always when I see you or meet you or we meet some new people here, and there is, because this is not random that you're sitting here, you know. I started last night by saying, do you know who got you here, everybody? Spirit called you, and you heard the call. Spirit called you here this morning. And you, the soul, heard the message, and you got yourself here. Because it knows that there's such opportunity here. And I can speak for this little space. There is tremendous high vibrational souls sitting here this morning. Tremendous high vibrational souls. And see, I had a teacher in the ashram that allowed me to become me, and patiently hanging out with me to allow me to be me. This teacher, one time, you know, I asked him because he gave me so many permissions, so many ridiculous permissions that I even didn't feel safe with them. Right? And then he often was very strict with other monks. But for me, practically everything that I asked, he allowed me to do. And sometimes it was a little scary. I asked him one day, why, sir, do you give me so many permissions? You know what he said? He said, because if I tell you no, and you do it anyway, you will break our trust, and I don't want our trust to be broken for anything in this world. Now that's a friend. That's a serious friend. That he would allow me to walk that tightrope of maybe going over the line as a monk, right? He would have me walk that tightrope in order then to save our friendship, because so important are these loyal divine friendships. That's how God works on this plane now. That's what I love about what's happening here at the soul. That's what I feel. If you were to say, give me one thing that you learned in 43 years of spiritual living, 25 of which were a monk, what would that one thing be? You know what I would say? That it's self-effort, that God helps those who help themselves. There's so much we can do. There's so much I can do. Me, myself, can do to awaken myself. And in awakening myself, as we know about the calibration of energy and consciousness, that if you awaken yourself, you will awaken millions. You don't have to know those millions physically. You lift your consciousness. One avatar affects 70 million lives. And you know what? An avatar that calibrates at 1,000, according to Dr. David Hawkins, 1,000 being the top level of consciousness a human can achieve. You know what the predominant quality of an avatar is? Loving kindness for everything and everyone, all the time. That's the highest state of consciousness, of enlightenment. Yeah, you're in the oneness. Yeah, you're a master of yourself. All those other beauty. Yeah, you're a nonstop conduit for loving. Yeah, your discrimination is so wise. You're always choosing wisdom over the unreal. But predominantly, it's this idea of loving kindness. And loving kindness and being a friend to yourself go hand in hand. Bread and butter. And loving kindness in establishing a horizontal, really great friendship is indispensable for that friendship to mature and grow and blossom and to lift each other up, which is the purpose of life and the purpose of friendship. So last night there was so much loving kindness with strangers. And I just keep coming back to the soul of yoga. The soul of yoga, whether it's immersion in love or the training that you all are going through, really stems because it was a creative baby. Because Trisha and I came out of the ashram, I wasn't going to make babies. But we did talk about making creative babies, taking that life force that can be used to make a human baby and make a creative spiritual baby. And we came together, Trisha and I, and we made the soul of yoga. We made the baby called the soul of yoga, where you are sitting here today, right? I so wanted, after 25 years of, intense disciplined life, I so wanted to retire. I don't know what I was thinking, but I came out, I said, I need some time off. I mean, we worked hard. And we work hard in the ashram, working and serving and loving, and it's always always on your best behavior. And it's like, wow, maybe it's time for me to retire. Maybe we should travel and all that. It's not in our cards. It's not in the divine plan. Because what we are, Source is saying, now be to all. I guess what I'm trying to say this morning is that we have an opportunity right here, right in your own circle at home, right in your own network. You have an opportunity to cultivate, by starting with yourself, the highest type of friendship with yourself. Meaning your vibration needs to so raise above anything that you think is wrong with you, anything that you think has been passed down, anything that you think you really can't change. It's just too hard, right? And then all the excuses come along. We need to so get into a joy environment like we have here and hang around in that environment like you've never hung around an environment. And I know our little flute player over here, my fellow here with the bald head. The guy, you know, and so many more and more I hear. We had 3 sign-ups that came, well, 2 of them last night for immersion in love, because they're hurting really bad. They're hurting really bad. And that is one beautiful type A situation to throw yourself into a positive vibration. If you are hurting, and if you are kind of this way, or if you're kind of feeling everything's good for your life, still seek out high vibration environment. Seek out being the best loyal friend to yourself, and then start with the closest ones that want to vibe with you and want to make those promises that Trisha and I make. It's got to be on a deep promise, because the human is just like that. You know how the human is. Unless there's a commitment. And each person is striving to raise her vibration, his vibration, and staying in a community. We created this baby soul of yoga because we know this is what we need the most. See? It's sacred selfishness, what we do around here. Because we get to be in this vibration all the time. I'm going to end you with a story, true or not, of Leonardo da Vinci. True or not, but it's one of my fave stories. When he was painting the Last Supper, the first one he painted was Christ. He found the perfect vibration of somebody who he could paint as Christ when he was painting the Last Supper. That was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful image of Christ. And he painted all the rest of the disciples. The last one he hadn't painted was Judas, and he couldn't find a Judas that had that thing where just karma was going to make him make a choice that was really going to crucify love. That's a tough energy to find, right? That's a really tough energy to find. Finally, he found him. And he painted this guy. And he painted this guy till he finished Judas. And then Judas looked at him and said, "You don't recognize me, do you? I was the one you painted as Christ. And I've lost my way." This dream show, whatever you want to call it, illusion, Maya, is no respecter of you, my friends. And that was another kind of compassion I felt last night as I looked into those eyes and saw everyone. We were so happy for a while. We were genuinely in a vibration where everyone felt the real deal to some degree. And it's just like my eyes just wanted to swell up because I wanted to say, watch your environment. Seek out friendship and be that friend to others where you can make commitments to keep your vibration high, because this illusion is no respecter of you. Thus we have this baby, the soul of yoga. Thus we have 4 teenagers now. It's kind of new, and we heard that there's not many teenagers doing yoga trainings, right? Mm-hmm. We have the trainings. We have the Sunday here. We have classes that are unbelievable for every type of yoga, restoration, power yoga, whatever. We have it here. And we have the immersion in love, which we were mentioning. One more this year. one more this year. And out of the sincerity of my heart, I know how important it is for you. I know. Because it's the high vibration for 5 days which can seriously kick you into a steady, self-sustaining way to operate so that you stay with loyalty to yourself and others and in environments. All right? So, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up. I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy to show up and be happy when you don't want to be happy, but it is your true nature. Do it anyway. Love you.